Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Tech Informist. This episode of the Tech Informist was recorded on Wednesday, February 25th, 2015. If this is your first time listening or watching, you may be wondering what is the Tech Informist. The Tech Informist is a show intended to help inform and educate listeners, such as yourself, about the latest news we find interesting in the world of technology, with lively and entertaining commentary about the latest tech news. My name is Kevin Harvell. I'm also joined by co-host, good friend, JJ Hammond. JJ, how are you today?
Ready to talk about some technology.
Yes, last episode was titled Slow News Day. That is definitely not the case today. So we've got plenty of awesome stories lined up for you that reach a broad range of subjects, actually. People can get involved with us and find us on Twitter at Tech Informist, Facebook, Google+, Instagram. Say it pretty much every episode, but sometimes repetition is always good. You can also send feedback, comments, suggestions, anything like that that you might want to communicate with us to contact at thetechinformist.com. You can also watch live, view upcoming episodes schedule, and participate in our live chat room. And speaking of, good morning chat room, how's everybody doing today? Glad to have you all with us again. You can visit thetechinformist.com/live to enjoy the fruits of live labor, you could say. So we would really appreciate also if you could hop on over to iTunes, leave us a review, give us a rating, help other people find the show. And we're also giving away a Sensi Wi-Fi thermostat. So for those of you who still have yet to enter into that contest, you can enter in once each day just by tweeting out a message. That's one of the options. And there's a whole bunch of different ways that you can enter to accumulate points into the random code generator, and it'll spit out the winner whenever we unveil that on March the 6th, which is just next Friday. It's going to be here before you know it. Please visit thetechinformist.com/giveaway to get entered and find out more details. You can also see the product we are giving away and a little bit more information about that. So, speaking of all of that, it's time to move into the news segment of the day. JJ, lead us off, brother.
Alrighty, well, everybody, you know how excited we all are about technology and the future of it. I think this story, I would like to start this episode off on a positive note. I want to talk about what The Guardian and thereby The Verge posted. Watch a blind man use a bionic eye to see his wife for the very first time. This is kind of incongruent with other stories we've had about bionic arms that allowed kids to play guitars, all this other kind of stuff. But the video essentially has basically this guy has the ability to see his wife after 10 years. This guy named Alan, now in his late 60s, began to lose his sight nearly 2 decades ago, but thanks to a prototype bionic eye and the help of Minnesota's Mayo Clinic, the Minnesotan can see shapes and human forms. So that's kind of a wonderful experience, and for that experience, and then the experience of technology bringing hearing to those who have lost their hearing, that's also very, very empowering, and I think, and again, we need to respect and build up these kinds of things that make our lives better and the lives of others better, because that's what what gets me out of bed in the morning is stories like this. So I appreciate this, and if you guys, our listeners in the chat room or other people, have other cool stories that we can talk about that is related to this, please let me know. Also, we don't get very political here on the show, but I want to make sure that all of you make sure you vote, because your votes help people and people get grants. I know we've talked about that before, but this guy is able to see, and other people are able to do what they do through universities with MIT and all this other kind of stuff with research grants. A lot of that's kind of been coming under scrutiny with the new Congress that's in. They're very conservative. I don't want to see these programs get cut, so make sure that you do those things. Kevin, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I think most people, if you haven't yet seen the video of, I think he was a very young child, like almost not quite 1 year old, but whenever they say, he could hear for the first time, they put this little whatever contraption that around his head so he could, to enable his hearing. and you just see the change in his face, and then all of a sudden he starts smiling. It's like that's what life's all about, and
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah.
technology and stuff like this being able to help someone who goes blind,
Yep.
quote unquote, see his wife for the first time. I like that for the
That's
first time
dope.
in a decade. I
Mhm.
was like, that's really cool stuff. And
Yep. This is it's this not this stuff isn't just for porn, guys. Let's make it for stuff better than that. Let's be better people. All right, Kev, you're up next.
all right, so the next thing that I was wanting to talk about is about Pebble Time. Pebble has unveiled their new smartwatch, and it's called Pebble Time. It's a color LCD display, so it's going to be a little bit different than the standard quote unquote grays and blacks and stuff that you see on the normal Pebble and the Pebble Steel. Well, they launched it on Kickstarter, and I was hoping to be able to pull up the page, the Kickstarter page, but man, it is having some problems today. I don't know if more and more people are really trying to hit it up, but I think it was at like $7 million as of
Mhm.
last I checked last night,
Mhm.
when I was putting stories and stuff together. And they were only looking to get 500,000, so they're like way above their target. But we'll put the link in the show note, or maybe you can try going to Kickstarter.com and search for the Pebble Time page to get involved. Because I think it was 159, the first 10,000 people that got in could get what is going to retail for $200. You could get it for 159. That sold out like quick. And then they had a $179 level, and then you can buy two for a certain amount, and et
Mhm.
cetera, with the different levels. This is pretty cool. I mean, it's really nice that they're doing this before the Apple Watch comes out. But a lot of people have been saying, well, why do they launch this thing back on Kickstarter? And The Verge actually did a really nice write-up, kind of explaining the reasons why they would do that. And a lot of it just comes down to the fact that if they were to launch through typical retail outlets, they would have to have units ahead of time. They would have to wait to receive the funding from the sales of these devices. For example, if they were to do Amazon, what was it? It was going to take could take up to 2 or 3 months after the first round of sales before Pebble would get their money. So by doing this on Kickstarter, they could get the money back quicker and essentially not have to like pay as much out when it comes to their the differences.
Nice.
So reading through that, it made a lot of sense. I was like, gosh, why are they doing that on Kickstarter? Or
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
talked
that's
about that. Like,
yeah,
why are they doing that? That's kind of
yeah.
weird, right?
I mean, Kickstarter was where they launched the original Pebble, and it's where a lot of places go to get to launch their devices, and so it really made sense. And we'll have that link in there as well, so you can read this if you haven't already.
Mhm.
But it's really cool, and I'm looking forward to looking at this. Still love the idea that the Pebble gives you up to 7 days of battery life. It's really the only smart watch you could say that can do that.
Well, Kevin, you're not the only person. Rawl says he wasn't able to get on the Pebble Kickstarter webpage as well.
Okay,
Very
so
interesting.
it's
Yeah.
not just me, but I mean they've still got probably 29 days left.
Yeah.
Bef-
They're going to be fine. I wouldn't be surprised if Microsoft didn't buy Pebble at this point. I've said that in joking before, but I'm serious. I wouldn't be surprised if they picked them up.
yeah, I am surprised they're still quote unquote independent and still on
Yeah.
their own.
Yeah.
I'm surprised a company hasn't, because the Pebble's really the only it won't work without some little special apps to get your Pebble working with a Windows phone, for example.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
even that, it doesn't have like full functionality or something like that.
Well, a lot of people are getting Pebbles because they are functional for what they are.
Yeah.
And with an e-ink display and some color to it, we saw some mock-ups, and let's not understate why people like this thing so much. Is you don't have to put it on a battery, or you don't have to put it on a charger every night, right? There is significant battery life. There is also this retro factor.
Hmm.
There's a lot of them out there. They're being sold in AT&T, Verizon, big box stores, stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Best Buy,
So
Walmart.
so it's very interesting to see the trajectory of this thing. Plus, what's kind of nice, and I don't know, a lot of watch wearers know what I'm talking about, but the dial or the crown, as some call it, it digs into your hand a little bit, like the back of your hand, depending on if you wear it on your left hand. Usually when you wear a watch on your left hand, so when you bend your wrist, you get this, nice little dig in your in your hand from this, from the dial that sticks out, so you can, change the time, stuff like that. My point is that with the Pebble, they got the rubber there, right? They got it's much more easy on the wrist there, and it makes it really nice to wear. Our good friend Alejandro Ramirez of the show blew up our Facebook Messenger because he was so friggin' excited about this that he even wrote an article about it. It's on the site, the Tech Informist, as well. So we can see the general grassroots people, really enjoy this product, and I've just been so interested. I don't know if you've been as interested as I have been to watch so many people be so excited about a product that really has none of the big four, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Apple, backing this thing, but works for the most part on a lot of their devices.
Yeah, I mean, I think it looks nice, and more and more of these Android Wear devices that I've used and stuff over the the last 6 or so months, and even using the Microsoft Band, I think I have more of a use for the Band and maybe even a Pebble as opposed to Android Wear and maybe even the Apple Watch. I don't know, I haven't had a chance to use one yet.
All right.
But I just want something that's going to last battery-wise and just give me brief notifications. I guess I don't need to be talking to my wrist and certain things. So I guess the lower functionality and lower prices.
Yeah, I always tell people. Yeah, I always tell people, if you can buy something right now, buy the Band, because I'm telling you, it's cross-platform and it does a phenomenal job in calorie, steps, all that's the whole shebang. I mean, it's a great device. It's durable. That's the one I would go with. With the recent update with Health and Health Vault, there's no reason why you shouldn't be using it if that's what you want to keep track of.
Right.
Also, it's a great timepiece. It's great just to kind of wear all over the place. So Kevin, awesome story about the Pebble. Do you want to talk any more about it?
Brad has shared something in the chat room about. It's from winbeta.org about Microsoft apparently testing Pebble notification support for Windows. So maybe that'll be included in the Windows 10 and maybe even drop back down to Windows 8.1 for Windows phones. And it'll make it more of a better pairing there. So good.
So A is for Apple.
That's what I heard.
Period.
That's what I learned in school.
Apple Pay users are the types of customers banks like, says Chase. Now, Chase, arguably, is a very large bank. That's J.P. Morgan Chase. They told their investors more than 1 million customers have set up their Chase credit and debit cards for use with Apple Pay. That's astounding, according to Apple Insider, and adoption continues to rise. More importantly, for the nascent contactless payment sector, Chase says that Apple Pay users are the kind of fiscally attractive, quote-unquote, and engaged, quote-unquote, customers. This comes to us via The Verge, via a good write-up, Thomas Ricker. The bank likes these people. Now, obviously, people who can afford the new iPhone with Apple Pay, they have money. I mean, let's be honest. That's the people other people want to go after. And if we've said it before, we're going to say it again. At CES, we found out that, yes, we live in an iOS world. Now, we're looking at some of these graphs and looking at some of the projections, and Kevin, you know how I'm a sucker for graphs. It's kind of interesting to me that the average age and the average income is reflecting in how many people are using Apple Pay just in general. Now, these are some pretty interesting, stats. I don't think they've been doctored. I think they're legit. I think if you look out there in the marketplace, you'll see it. The charts presented by Chase have seen Apple Pay customers tend to be 9 years younger than the bank's average, yet earn 21% more. They also constitute a greater portion of overall credit card spending. Chase is one of the biggest banks to commit to Apple Pay when the service was announced back in September, and the features prominently in Apple Pay and iPhone 6 imagery. Today, it's just one of almost 100 participating banks in the U.S. So there's more want for these types of things to show up overseas, and I think we're going to see a lot of that over the next year, to be quite honest. But this does speak to why so much attention is paid to Apple. Now, we in the tech community need to watch out for this because there are some things happening from the developer's point of view. There's like different classes of developers now, and it's really interesting to see this. I know Chase really ticked off a lot of Microsoft users because they ended support for their Windows apps, but I think that they're going to come back later after Windows 10. I don't think it's one of those things that it's going to be forever. Kevin, what's your thoughts on Apple Pay, in particular with Chase and some of these stats and on all this news?
I mean, it's nice to see, that Chase is reporting that, they've got this many people that have at least set their card up to work with Apple Pay, whether or not they're using it or not. Out of that 1 million people is a whole other story. Because I've honestly yet to be out somewhere where I've seen somebody use it. And even whenever I was at a McDonald's before using soft card, she's like, "You're like the third person that's ever tried using this kind of technology." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So apparently, not a whole lot of people that I'm seeing or places that I'm going are saying that they're seeing people use that. But then again, where I live is not like a tech hub of anywhere, so
Right.
it kind of speaks to that a little bit. But no, I think it's good, and I think it's kind of the future of stuff where it won't be long and you won't have to carry a wallet. You'll just carry your phone.
Right.
So because everything's going to be built in. I know in a previous show we talked about driver's license being in your phone and stuff like that as a past story. So I don't know. Maybe things are gonna go like that, where you just carry the device, and not a whole lot of people really carry cash, so you've got everything there.
Well, and to inform our audience, if you haven't tried this stuff, it's probably good because it's way too easy to spend your money. I'm serious, man. I mean, these click and buy things from Amazon make it way too easy for me to spend money.
Yeah, one click.
One-click purchase. Yeah, that kills me every time. Kevin, you're up next.
All right. So the next thing is Motorola sent out some boxes and some information today, and they've unveiled the Moto E, which the Moto E is a nice little budget phone that will retail for $149. This one's going to have LTE, a 4.5-inch Quad HD display, which the dimensions and resolution that they're given.
I'll be right back.
Okay, is 960 by 540. So that's a little strange if you're gonna call that a QHD display. I'm assuming that's a Quad HD display. So you can get the LTE version, a quad-core 1.2 gigahertz Snapdragon 410 processor. The non-LTE version has a quad-core Snapdragon 200 chip. The Moto E has also now got a front-facing camera, and it will even run Android 5.0 Lollipop. So the battery on here is a 2390 milliamp hour battery, which is up from 1980. So you should get a little bit better battery life on here. And you should be able to start getting that. Let's see if they've got an idea when they're going to actually have that available to purchase. Not seeing, but we'll be seeing that here pretty soon. I would think within the next few weeks or so. So that's good. I mean, so if you're on a budget, $150, get a pretty nice device there. I'm sure the onboard storage is probably only like 8 gig, but if past history holds true, they will be able to support micro SD cards as well.
Nice. What, like expandable up to or whatever?
Yeah, probably 64 or 128 if you want. Yeah, that'd be nice. It seems like a pretty nice little budget phone for somebody that doesn't need a lot of stuff.
Confirmed. 8 gigabytes of internal storage.
Okay.
That's interesting. The Moto E was always kind of an interesting device to me.
Yeah, it was always the Moto G people talked about when
Yeah,
it came to the budget phones now.
yeah, and well, now it's going to be Moto E or whatever. But yeah, I mean, Google, man, Android on everything. It is what it is.
Yeah,
You know, you almost got to you got to pick a side.
it
you know.
includes the ambient lock screen notifications via Moto Display and also the double wrist twist gesture to launch the camera. So, I mean, you're talking about getting Moto X features on a $150 phone.
Wow.
That's not bad. I mean, it's not a $50 Moto or a Lumia 635, but
Well, yeah, but I mean,
you're getting a lot of
well, it's
stuff
like,
on here.
well, I mean, uh, you get a, well, you get a front-facing camera, which the 635 doesn't have.
That's
Um,
true.
and I want to say a flash in the back, autofocus. I don't know. I'll have to look at that. But, anyways, no, no flash. Doesn't look like no flash. But well, that's kind of interesting, right?
Yeah.
Because then, so really, it's just for the apps. It's just run. But even then, here's the other thing that a lot of people don't talk about is some of these apps don't work on these lower end devices. I mean, they do,
Yes.
but they don't work very well. You know what I'm saying? And there's a big difference. I mean, you're like, oh, I got this, and now I'm using it, and and then it's like, oh, but I can't. I've always said this: don't show people what they can't have. That'll drive people bonkers. That'll drive them nuts. You know
Yep.
what I mean?
Oh,
Um,
exactly.
yeah, it's really weird. So
Yeah. So,
I
I
am gonna
mean,
talk.
that kind of just like leads me into this next thing about Google and Inbox. Inbox was kind of a big thing a few months ago from Google as a new way to kind of experience your email and try to work a little bit more your get your production more optimized, as you could say. But whenever Google first started launching and rolling this out to users, it was only available for personal email accounts, so at your at gmail.com domain. So now they finally have started opening it up to Google Apps or Google Business users. So, for like us, we have custom domain email accounts through Gmail. So now they're going to start rolling Inbox out to these users over the next few months, and the early rounds of beta testing is beginning now. So I've really been waiting to even start messing around with Inbox until this happens because I don't really use my personal Gmail account that often, honestly. So I didn't really want to mess with it too much. So I don't know if
So I don't
anybody.
I don't know a lot about Inbox. Can you tell me and our audience? Can you inform us, if I dare say, what exactly Inbox does for a user?
Yeah, so Inbox is just it's to help focus on things that matter. They want things to. It's not really necessarily how you're gonna use email. You might not even use it as your main email client. It's kind of a different way to help organize it. Um,
Because I feel like there's just so many email clients, right? You got the native one,
yes.
then you've got like this other one, and then you've got this other one, and this other. And I didn't know if it was just another one, and it just seems like it's another one.
Now let's see. Let's read a little bit more. Da, 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 da. Yeah, I mean, you use email to contact virtually anyone in your world. See, bundles. You can expand upon the categories they were introduced in Gmail last year, making it easy to deal with similar
Hmm.
types of mail all at once. For example, your purchase receipts or bank statements are neatly grouped together
Oh,
so
okay.
that you can quickly review and then swipe them out of the way. Which, I mean, that's kind of one of the things that I've been dealing with a lot lately is more of these conferences and stuff that I'm signing up to go to and keeping up with,
The
receipts from
news, yeah.
lodging and car rentals and flight plans and this and that. It's like you got to keep things really organized, otherwise things will just get lost.
Right.
Highlights, you can highlight the key information and important messages such as flight itineraries, event information, photos, documents emailed to you by friends and family. Inbox will even display useful information from the web that wasn't in the original email, such as the real-time status of your flights and package deliveries. So you can, though they work together to give you just the information you need at a glance. Reminders, assists, and snooze your to-dos on your own terms. yeah, so hopefully we'll be getting access to that sooner than later because I really would like to use it.
Yeah, so I just realized, and I just put this in the chat room, I use a ridiculous amount of email clients, right? I use Outlook, like the application. Then I use the mail application that comes standard on Windows. And then I use Google's Gmail. And then I use it on the phone. And then I use it on the Android. And then I use it on a Comply that is now Outlook. And then I use it on, I'm sure, something else. I could keep going and going and going. But my point is, this is crazy talk. I wouldn't mind having kind of an all-in-one encompassing calendar, or I'm sorry, email that thereby worked as a good calendar. Acompli was nice. When I tried it out, I'm gonna have to retry that out for Android. Um,
Yes, it is. It is nice.
yeah, but I mean, it's like, and then we're all like you said, then you're using one for work, and then it's like, good Lord. I mean, you try to figure one out, right? Because the whole point to the stuff is to try to make our lives easier, not more complicated, right? I mean, I think,
Oh yeah.
and then I go into like this email client, and I'm like, okay, I just want to do this thing, and then what I find myself doing, honestly, is just like, all right, screw it, just give me it all, just show the whole flipping thing to me. Don't sort anything out. Don't do any of that stuff. Um, oh, cool. So you do use Inbox. Awesome. So yeah, I'd like to know what your guys' favorite email client is, because I'm just kind of curious. Because right now, I think my favorite, if I had to pick, gosh, I don't know. What's your favorite, Kevin, out of all the ones you use?
Personally, I really like Gmail. I mean,
Okay.
that's where all of my email accounts are. So by not having a true Gmail client on Windows Phone, it's kind of a pain because I'll
Right.
just use the regular email apps
Right.
that's built into Windows Phone
Mm-hmm.
to access those. But once I delete from there, it doesn't delete from my Gmail, and maybe I could tweak a couple settings and get that to happen. But it's like I got to delete it twice from here and from if I log into the internet.
Yeah, that's a pain. Oh, it's like, see, again, it's something that should just work. Like, it should just work. Okay, we're not going to complain because I hate shows that do that. All right, moving on to the next story. Prepare yourselves, everyone. Prepare yourselves. Like the icon or the avatar that one of our chat room members has. Uh, you know, prepare yourself. This is Sparta. For the rise of the Windows Phone, dun dun dun. Multiple news outlets have similar stories about low-cost Windows phones being made alongside their Android counterparts. Zolo, Kazam, Blue, Lumias, and more OEMs are making these low-end devices, and it reminds me of the reason why Windows became the popular desktop OS. Period. Because people didn't have a lot of money and who don't have a lot of money go out and they buy these phones. However, I will say that there is still an issue on the whole bang for your buck front. Okay, right now on Amazon, you can go grab an LG G3, which is one of the best smartphones you can get out of the market. I think it's better than the M8, and I think it's better than the S5 for $478 with rockin' specs, or versus Microsoft's 830 for $400 with not so awesome specs. This is an issue in my opinion. They need to say, you know what, we're gonna lose money on this thing, and we're gonna start putting some legit stuff in these phones from Microsoft's point of view to really push it across the finish line. Because here's the problem. Even though you're getting all these phones in people's hands, they're still not using your services, man. Like, they're not, and when they hop on, they're mad because they don't get their apps that they want. Because what happens is like when somebody gets a smartphone, it's like the rest of the tribe, the rest of your family comes to you out of nowhere, it seems, and is like trying to help you. Here's the 21st century. Are you ready for it? Let me install Facebook. All of a sudden, your kid gets your phone, or your grandkid gets your phone, or whatever happens. And the next thing you know, you've got ringtones on there that you didn't even know existed. All right? But my point is that there still is the app gap issue, and there still is a whole lot of other issues like Windows 10 that's going to be coming out, right? And I know that this, people are like, oh, those kind of people, they're going to be rocking. No, the experience needs to be the same, and I think that's going to be a problem with Android with the Motorola E and these low-end Android One phones. Is this first world problem? The reason why it's a problem is because it's problems in people's lives. When they move to upgrade, right? For example, they want something more. They're going to want more, and if they have bad experience, they're going to move to your competitor. Trust me. I don't know how many times people hop from Android to Apple or from Apple to Android, whatever. A lot of people are going to Apple. Why? Because it's a consistent user experience. And I think that this is the same on the Windows front. You're going to have a ton. My wife, she actually was really looking hardcore at the new Blue, right? The new Windows Phone 8, a very popular Blue phone. It's $179 off contract. It's got front-facing speakers. It's got a nice screen on it. It's not too bad. It looks good. It's light. It feels good in the hand. All these kinds of things. I'm sure it's going to have a million and one problems down the road, but the situation is you look at this thing, you're like, that's not bad. That's a great price. That's fine for good specs. I could see this being a thing, but the issue is it needs to be more, right? Like the Windows phones are going to be coming out, so there's going to be a lot of people out there with them. So if you're a developer, you need to be writing for Windows Phone, but Microsoft needs to make sure that they do their end of the bargain, which is make sure that these things get better processors in them, and they continue to get better with the screen and with battery life and all that kind of stuff. Kevin, what do you have to say about all this?
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing about Windows Phone is just I hate the fact that everything you see get released is low to low end. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
honestly, 830 as mid range is that's about as mid range as a high end. That's not like a high end mid range.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, gosh, come on, just get the people that want the hardware, get them some hardware. I mean, people will buy this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but
And don't just have like the one like if you're gonna make a 1520 replacement next year or this year, don't have just the 1520 and then nothing even close to that, right? It
right,
should be a 1520 and then like its next version, right? And then something with a smaller screen but still the same internals, right?
right,
Just like what Apple did with the iPhone. The iPhone 6, iPhone 6 Plus. That's exactly the model
yeah,
that Microsoft needs to go with their Lumias, and what other OEMs like LG, HTC, and Samsung could do with the Windows operating for Windows 10 when that's released. So I think there could be some room for improvement there. Absolutely.
yeah. And get cracking on these apps.
Hmm.
Satya Nadella. I mean, get your assistant or you yourself. Call these big companies and say, all right, what can we do to work together to get you to create a real app for our platform?
Right, exactly.
Something. Get on the
Look,
phone, man. Get this
look,
stuff. Get this
I
stuff.
know, I know there are tons of developers out there who would just drop everything if they got a call from the CEO and was like, "Yo, check this out. I need you to go over." Like Daniel Gary, for example, went over and did Quiz Up, right? And it's like he went all the way to Iceland, and it's like people would do that. They would totally do that,
Hmm.
and it wouldn't really be a whole lot of uh, like an issue, right? You could write it off as a deduction, I'm sure, at some point, right? It's like the guys don't pay taxes anyway, so I'm sure it would be nothing for them to really do this. But anyways, let's move on to the next story. I do like jetpacks.
Yes. So this is something I saw over at Popular Science. It's talking about jetpacks. Now, one of the main jetpack makers has got a major funding boost, and they're asking, could personal jetpacks finally see the light of day? Now, the company that I'm talking about is called Martin. So Martin Jetpack. So for centuries, humans have dreamed of flying. Once people figured out how to properly fly through the air in planes, folks started dreaming of flight without all those bulky airplanes attached. Martin Jetpack wants to take the personal flight dream from James Bond to make it a true consumer product, and they may be getting closer to that goal. The New Zealand-based personal flying machine makers recently received major financial support after Chinese company Quang Chi Science bought a controlling stake in Martin Jetpack. And yesterday, which be a few days ago, the company started trading on the Australia Security Exchange for the first time. Now, Martin, jetpack is not new to all this stuff because Popular Science actually covered the jetpack's public debut back in 2008 when it flew just a few feet off the ground. And then in 2011, they had a prototype jet that flew for 7 minutes and reached a height of 5,000 feet, which is, it's pretty good. That's almost a mile up in the sky. It's pretty good.
Up in the sky.
Yeah. So the Martin jetpack doesn't actually use jets. Instead, it uses two large, deep, ducted fans, which is making it more like a quadcopter than a
Hmm.
747. And jetpack is flown in manned tests. It can also fly unmanned, as it does in the latest video, which is also on this link as well, which is pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, that's dope.
It'd be a
You
heck of
know,
a way to commute, that's for sure.
right? That would be cool. Like a bunch of people just flying around and stuff. Although I did roofing for a little while, and it's amazing to me how many people do some weird and crazy stuff in their backyards. So probably not a good idea to go flying over other people's houses and stuff, right?
Right.
All right. So my next story kind of really is weird to me. Okay.
Okay.
Outlook.com dot dot dot. And so it begins. The ecosystem wars are heating up. But dun dun dun. Sorry, I'm a little overdramatic when it comes to some things, and I just got done watching the Power Rangers flick, where it was much more, let's just say, intense than I'm not normally used to seeing. Messaging apps, G+, iMessage, Facebook, Skype, WhatsApp, and Snapchat, and many, many more. An interesting future is rising. So Outlook.com lost the hooks that it had into Google Messenger type thing, um, Facebook Messenger. Um, that was kind of interesting to me because I saw Outlook and I saw its ability in being able to do Hangouts and different stuff. I thought I was like, this could be the stepping stone, right? This could be the way. But then I want to say a couple weeks ago, I think we covered it on this show. If we hadn't, I apologize, but I could have swore we did when we talked about Google Talk going away. And when that happened, I was like, oh, well, there you go. Because there was a lot of APIs in that Outlook was using. I kind of already knew that from the get, but it was what I didn't see coming was Facebook leaving. Okay, that integration was kind of nice because me and Kevin we use a lot of Word Online stuff to knock stuff out, and I was kind of liking being able to use the Messenger thing right in there to
Right.
integrate with the Messenger. So we put we've got a lot of feedback from the user groups, from Twitter and everybody. This being gone, a lot of people didn't care, but I don't like removal of things. I just don't like that. I like adding features, not removing them.
Yeah. Go forward, not backward.
Yeah. I see that as going backwards, but I don't know. Maybe, hopefully there's a more secure, better new thing that's coming down the line, but that's a pipe dream, and I don't believe that's actually going to happen. So what Microsoft is saying, and thereby Outlook.com is saying, is, hey, if you want to use something, use Skype. Well, duh, that's what they're going to say because they own Skype. And but Paul Thurrott, God love that guy, says, well, I can't turn Skype off. And it's kind of a problem because Microsoft can't turn it off either when it comes to the messaging inside of Outlook.com. So that's interesting to me. Kevin, what do you have to say about all this?
Yeah, when that email came out and I did a small little write-up on techinformist.com, it was, just looking at it, the way they make it sound like you understand that Microsoft and Google are still, crossing their arms and holding their breath and staying in opposite sides of the room just because they just don't want to get along for whatever reasons. So you kind of understood losing that service, that version of chat in within Outlook. But a lot of people were really surprised about the whole Facebook thing because, thought Microsoft and Facebook had a pretty good relationship. They were doing a lot of things. So losing that was very surprising. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? I don't see myself switching to using Skype as a messaging service within within a computer. Just not going to do it. So, well, we'll see. It's sad, like you said, to lose things. You want to keep making things better, not
Yeah, keep adding stuff,
rip
right?
yours out.
Yeah, yeah. Look, they're a software company now. Start doing software. Like what we said with the earlier thing. It's like, you know what? Just go out there and say, you know what, companies, if you're not going to do it, we will. How about that?
Yeah.
You know, because all these companies have APIs. All they have to do is pay for them. I mean, it's not as difficult as what everybody makes it out to be. But whatever. Um, you're up next. I want to hear
Yeah.
about net neutrality.
All right. So the last thing I want to talk about is that, according to Popular Science, again, back on their website, net neutrality is the proposal is moving ahead, and without Congress blocking it, the FCC vote is likely to pass this week. So net neutrality appears to be coming soon to a broadband pipe near you, several months after President Obama first laid out his plan to keep the internet playing field level, and just weeks after FCC Chairman Tom Wheeler announced his intent to follow the White House's lead. The path for new rules governing internet providers appear to be clear. Looks like the official vote of the FCC is scheduled for Thursday, so tomorrow. And though the vote is expected to pass, at least one of the agency's commissioners has raised strident objections. So stay tuned. Tomorrow is going to be a very interesting day for this, which I'm sure we'll be talking about a little bit more in depth on Friday.
Yeah, that one guy was a little psychotic in what he was trying to do there. But I mean, he is getting a lot of money to act that way.
Oh yeah, oh gosh, yeah, they get nice little kickbacks.
This is one of those things where it's like you really just you sit there and you're just like, stupid humanity,
Yeah.
I mean, just I hate humanity. We started off the show good. We're gonna end the show good too, promise. So this is good. I think openness. I think fair is human made. Fairness doesn't actually exist in the world. I'm gonna start a thing where I do quotes every show. By the way,
Uh-oh.
fairness is a human made thing. Okay, it doesn't exist in nature. Trust me. So fairness. We strive to be better people. And fairness is something that we should try to strive because it's better and it's what makes us better. Preach moment over. Update to a previous story. An official has confirmed the leaked photos from a German website of the HTC One M9 are in fact real. So multiple news outlets are covering this. We just want to just give you an update to the story that we had I think on Monday, which was this is like legit. The pictures of the camera, the way that there's like this side kind of metal band that goes around the side of the device. The shapes and the different images of the device are all correct. I don't think any massive confirmation of like the internals are real, but I mean we all kind of pretty much know what's going on. I'm not really shocked. There's nothing that's really going to shock me from their announcement now, or surprising, I should say, this weekend, this Sunday. So and thereby Monday if you live in Barcelona. So I think this is it's going to be cool to see the device finally in their happy fashion or whatever, but it's not going to be any total surprise. Any other thoughts on this before we move to our next stuff?
Yeah, there were some leaked videos and stuff that were supposed to be HTC like commercial style videos that kind of leaked out yesterday, and I was watching through some of those showing how to use the camera and camera initialization, and they actually have what looks like the power button on the display itself down, next to the home, back, and kind of like menu buttons down on the bottom of the underneath the screen. So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that is going to be interesting. Also, want to note the LG G Flex 2 on sale worldwide.
Yes, LG G Flex 2.
Nice roll. All right. We're better show with you guys in the chat room.
Right.
So thank
Always
you.
helping little things we might not drop throughout the show.
App and entertainment picks of the week. I'm up. I am totally losing my mind over these posters. If you go to The Verge, they got some really gorgeous looking posters of the Avengers, Age of Ultron. This is totally awesome. Yeah, so I watched the Power Ranger flick, and it's not going to be a thing, but dude, that was totally just out of control. If you want to see the darkest depths of what the Power Rangers could do, that is
definitely not
it.
go Power Ranger kind of stuff.
No, it was not that. No, no, no.
No,
No, it was not that
it
at all.
was like, wow, I probably would have really got into the Power Rangers if that's how it would have been back in the day when the show was really big.
Yeah,
I'd have been like, yeah, I can watch this.
little shocking, but the girl that was in there does a phenomenal job on Battlestar Galactica. That was a phenomenal show, and
I think her name's Kate or Katie Sackhoff or something
yeah,
like that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. She's
She's a doll.
sure.
I'm just
No,
saying.
I like her just from an actress standpoint. We talked about this before the show, but you're up next, Kevin.
All right, so most people know if you know Netflix, one of the biggest shows available on Netflix is called House of Cards. If you
Really?
have not watched House of Cards, I definitely recommend you doing so. Because this Friday, season 3 is going to drop, and I think that's probably what I'll be doing Friday night is watching at least 2, maybe 3 episodes of season 3. Because man, the show is really good. And even Sesame Street did a little House of Cards parody with like the Big Bad Wolf and the Three Little Pigs. So if you haven't seen that little, it's like 4.5 minutes. It's actually kind of funny. Actually kind of funny. So if you've seen the show and you're like, oh, let's see what Sesame Street's been up to. They've actually been on an interesting roll here with some of the things they've been doing with the videos. So
Mhm.
I don't know. I mean, Sesame Street's got to try to adapt to the times as well, and it's not the same as it was when we were kids watching it. There's a lot of different little things that they're doing. And
Oh,
one
yeah.
other thing too that I have tried the YouTube for Kids app on Android that did release, and we've talked about it a little bit in prior episodes. So I played around with the app a little bit last night and did some screenshots. And I'll do a little write up on it as well. The timer version works very well. You can set the timer as low as 1 minute if you want, and you can see this little bar just counting down as the time goes by, and then it just then it goes into like this little face comes on and it looks like the face is going to sleep. It's like yeah. It's like, and you can't do anything until you hit the little lock button, and which actually this kind of throws me off a little bit because if a kid can read, they're going to be able to just punch in the time and figure out what the letters, the words, 1123 mean. Punch in like a 4-digit pin code on the right side. They're going to be able to figure that out and extend that out and stuff. But you get access to videos, music, music videos, and like learning videos, a few different categories of stuff. It's actually kind of interesting. So if you got young children, it's available on Android and iOS, I believe.
Nice. Well, I'm good to
Nice.
go. There was a kind of a story that was leaked about the Sony Xperia Z4 tablet ahead of the MWC.
Yeah.
We'll have more on that on Friday, I'm sure. So
Yeah.
thank you, Raul. Thank you, chat room. Thank you, all of our listeners who don't listen live, who do listen back to the show and follow us and talk to us on Twitter. And just we really, really appreciate it. We really do. It means a
Yep.
lot.
We love interacting with you all. It's fun. It's good times. Makes doing this that much more fun and enjoyable.
Oh yeah.
So, and again, I want to help promote our giveaway of the Sensi Wi-Fi thermostat. Raul, I seen you tweeted out that you entered. Thank you, thank you. So, best of luck for everybody. You can always get into this and enter to win. It's approximate retail value like $130, $140, something like that. So, not too bad, not too bad. Visit thetechinformist.com/giveaway. And for anybody that would like to, again, watch us live, join in the chat room if you're available. If you're at work, you can at least stream, and, listen to it in the
All
background,
right.
plug in some headphones.
Yeah.
You can still get some work done. It's
We're
okay.
work appropriate. We're all
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we are SFW, safe for work. So yeah, just
Nice.
visit thetechinformist.com/live. Submit any feedback, comments, suggestions to email them to contact@thetechinformist. You can find me on Twitter at Kevin Harvell. JJ, where can people find you?
On Twitter at JJ Hammond Music.
Awesome. So again, thank you everybody, listeners listening live, listeners that will be listening later, and people that watch, join in the chat room. We do appreciate and love you all. So from everyone here at the Tech Informist, consider yourself informed, and until next time, we are out.